Well, good morning, everybody. A little less than 5 minutes, but things got quiet, so I assume everybody's here and wants to be here. So we'll call the meeting to order of the January 25th, 2025 Pennsylvania Game Commission. If you don't mind, we'll all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the roll call of commissioners. Mr. Secretary? I'm correct, right? Yeah. Okay. Wait, excuse me. I'm inexperienced as far as we do the roll call at the official meeting when we call. So we're going to move into public comments. Is that correct, Greg? Yep. We're going to move into public comments. I asked every public comment speaker, and we got taught as commissioners, get as close to the microphone as you can, within reason, or that we can't hear, and then for the public testimony. So with that, Steve, if you want to call the first public testimony.
Sure. Good morning. We'll begin with public comment. When I'll call your name, you can have the opportunity to go to the podium. A light will come on at 4 minutes, and then a red light will come on at 5 minutes, indicating that your time for making comments to the Board of Commissioners is up. First, we have Dave Longeneater.
Good morning, everyone. You did pretty good on the name. Longenecker's last name. Thanks for letting us have a public time to speak about some issues that we like to talk about in hunting. I'm here because I would like you to rethink your position on the opening day of deer season. I'd like you to go back to Monday. My reasoning for all those thoughts are this. We have a camp in Tioga County. 5 of us started 45 years ago. We hunted out of a house trailer. Now we have a cabin. We do enhancement to it whenever we can. My son hunts it, and now my grandson has hunted it for a good many years, and he's grown up in this camp. He's now in his later 20s. He's been in this Saturday opener for 4 or is it 5 years. And in the beginning, he really liked the Saturday. Now he's got kids, one and another one coming soon, little kids. But he believes, and I do too, that those kids will be hunters. And he remembers the times when we spent Saturday and Sunday playing cards, watching football, but telling stories about all those deer that we killed and all those things that we got lost in the woods or whatever. They're kind of gone now. Those kind of stories have left us. Yeah, there's a little bit of time in Saturday night and Sunday night and maybe Monday night, but it's just not like it used to be. So I'm really thinking that we all know that 2/3 of our hunters would like to have Monday back instead of the Saturday. I'm also kind of opposed to Sunday, but I'm understanding it. I know that Senator Laughlin got the Sunday started, and that pushed Saturday as the start for hunting. Let's make this deal. Why don't you go to all Sunday in Pennsylvania for all seasons, but you come back and you change the start for deer season to the Monday, and then we go on from there. That's my position. I appreciate the time to talk. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Blaine Toy.
Good morning, Commissioners and Commissioner Smith. I want to thank you for the time to speak here. The Saturday opener of the fall deer rifle season has created significant division among us hunters, more so than any other issue. The Pennsylvania Game Commission seems unwilling to acknowledge the mistake they made in 2019 when they implemented this program. Most hunters prefer a Monday opener, yet the commissioner's stubbornness to admit their poor decision prevents resolving this problem. The Saturday opener has also impacted us camp owners, as it limits our ability to make necessary repairs since our last visit to camp. If we bring a new hunter to the area, we cannot show them where they can hunt safely. This also creates a problem for returning hunters who do not know if the areas they've hunted in the past have a new home, a new one under construction, or has been designated as a safety zone or is posted. Many businesses in the northern rely on the weekend opener to generate enough profit to avoid bankruptcy and carry them over to the trout opener. Charity funds, organizations like nonprofits, like churches, sportsman clubs, and so forth, lost their most profitable weekend. They just don't have the profit income. The deer population in public land is especially the big woods is too low and does not stimulate hunter interest, especially youth hunters. It is recklessly low because PGC issues too many tags. Hunters oppose the amount of doe allocations issued by PGC. Many hunters oppose issuing deer management assistant program tags that was originally designed for private land, not public land. A forward-looking infrared radar flyover study needs to be done in the big woods. The hunters would like to see that information released to the public to know exactly how many deer remain in that northern central woods. Last fall, I attended a meeting at Cinnamohoning Sportsman's Club. During the question and answer period, Pete Kingsley asked Executive Director Smith why PGC issues so many doe and DMAP tags. Executive Director Smith stated that if we have a terrible winter, they will all die, which sounded like a regular PGC kill all the deer excuse. I agree, some areas, especially in private land, are overpopulated with deer. Still, many of these areas are safety zones, parks, residential areas, private hunting reserves, and so forth, or posted no hunting. Many hunters consider the yearly deer harvest report over-exaggerated. Hunters want an accurate report listing private and public lands separately. Predators are killing too much of our wildlife, causing poor hunting. PGC continues to reintroduce predators back into the wild, but there is no mention of reintroducing huntable wildlife. PGC is taking in over $300 million per year from their natural resources, yet $8 of the taxes out of $9.20 is paid from our gambling funds. These gambling fund revenues were designed for help senior citizens. The draft of this agenda was not released till Wednesday, which didn't give us adequate time to review it. A good example is there are over $9 million, which is a drop in the bucket to what PGC has in funds to purchase new land, but no money for the improvement of habitat on our existing game lands. Thank you very much for your time.
Next up, Bear Davidson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us. I appreciate the opportunity to speak and the honor that it is to be here today. My name is Bear Davidson. I'm a currently a member of the National Board of Directors for the National Wild Turkey Federation, a lifelong hunter, and a father of a beautiful 7-year-old little girl who's here with me today. While I'll happily bend your ear for hours about either of these proud titles, my favorite topic is tying them all together. Why am I so passionate about the hunting heritage for my daughter and her generation? Because there are those before me who saw the same value in preserving the opportunity for me at a young age, and the only way I can repay them is to honor them in doing the same. Pennsylvania faced a challenge in 2007. Do we limit the hunting opportunity to begin at 12, or do we challenge the status quo? The state faced that challenge head on, and in doing so made a ripple that challenged every other state to think outside the proverbial box. Today we face a different challenge. Our kids face a world we can't even fathom. They know and use technology that challenges their grandparents, organize sports schedules and trainings that rival that of professional athletes. Back in my day, the only technology we had was a remote control and some board games that required batteries, not supercomputers we hold in our hands. Back in my day, baseball season started at the first spring practice and ended at the last game of the season, not followed up by travel ball, fall ball, winning hitting academies, fielding camps. This goes on for all youth sports. The hunting heritage is challenged by so many opportunities and distractions that didn't even exist a decade ago. Why are we going to make it so much more difficult? Currently, a mentor must provide their own tag for their mentee's harvest. How many are willing to sacrifice their own tags for their kids' success? One would like to be virtuous and say every parent. But be honest, we know that's not the case. We are asking a mentor to choose between their hunting year or a mentee's hunting year. What happens if a parent has multiple kids to mentor? You pick your favorite child and tell the other one, maybe next year. Essentially, we're asking a mentor to make a decision. You can give up your tag and deer season for a youth, or you can selfishly keep it for yourself. Let's step out of the idea that a mentor is a parent. What if it's an aunt or uncle, or what if it's a friend of the family? Will that mentor be as willing as a parent to sacrifice their tag for their kid's success? I can tell you as a volunteer on a local, state, and national level, unfortunately, the desire to give back is few and far between. I'll use the NWTF as an example, as I'm most familiar with that. 10% of turkey hunters are NWTF members. That means 90% of the turkey hunting population do not believe in giving back to the resource. Of those members, only 10%, 1% in total of all turkey hunters, volunteer within the organization. 1% of turkey hunting populations feel and understand the value of giving back. Finding mentors is hard enough. Finding people to volunteer is hard enough. Instead of encouraging folks to give back to our youth, we're handing them an objection of why they can't. I only have one tag. From a conservation standpoint, if our goal is to help manage the forest and control thriving deer populations, then why are we eliminating another harvest opportunity? Again, let's be honest, most mentors are efficient hunters. Not only are we eliminating an opportunity for an effective mentor to harvest, we're also removing the opportunity for a mentor to participate in their own deer season. Instead of giving them an opportunity to enjoy Penn's Woods throughout the hunting season and mentoring our youth, we're handing them an objection of why they can't. I only have one tag. Let's look at the long-term effects and the bigger picture that more and more folks these days disapprove of hunting. If it doesn't take much effort to look into the issues in Colorado, California, and Oregon, where non-hunters are controlling situations that have direct impacts on our hunting heritage. Times are changing. The latest studies of the Hunt for Good have shown a decreased approval in hunting by 10 million Americans and approval and disapproval of target shooting by 8 million Americans. While the approval of hunting has decreased by 13 million Americans and the approval of shooting has increased by 15 million Americans. That's 23 million Americans in a swing. Hunters currently make up 5% of the country's population. That means when it comes down to the future of hunting, it is in the hands of non-hunters. I don't know if a mentee will forever be a hunter, but I can tell you that mentee will understand the value of conservation and the role a hunter plays in it financially, traditionally, historically, and morally. That creates two more positive impacts. Years down the road, when a mentee grows up, has a family, their outlook on hunting will be favorable, possibly encouraging their own children to get involved. And when it comes time to vote in November, those mentees will also have a favorable outlook on hunting as a whole. In closing, let's not hand mentors reasons why they can't do it. Let's give them all the reasons why they should do it. I'm about finished here. Whether it's antler restrictions or late season start dates for spring turkey, Pennsylvania has always stood for doing the right thing for the forest, for the game, and for the hunting's future. Almost 20 years ago, PA made a ripple
Barrett,
that changed hunting's culture.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Respectfully up front, thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, Michael Riddle.
How you guys doing today? I'm also coming to talk about the review of changing the mentored youth age requirements. I raised both of my daughters in Tennessee, and Tennessee does not have an age requirement. It's up to the parent on when you can take your kids. They get the same tags as an adult does. Both my daughters had killed deer by the age of 7. My youngest one actually already had a wall hanger by the age of 7. So, also to put it into perspective of what kids are capable of, hunting and fishing isn't just my passion, also is motorcycles. Both my daughters started racing motocross at the age of 4. You can take a 4, 6-year-old, put them on a 35-mile-an-hour motorcycle, take them to the same start gate that the adults race on, and drop a gate. There's no governing body. There's no law that against this. At the age of 7, they're on manual clutches with manual transmissions. How many adults do you know can't drive a manual? I mean, to say that a kid can't do it, or that they're too young to do it, there's kids do a lot of things at a young age now. Like he was just mentioning with a supercomputer in there, I can't turn the blinking light off the microwave. Okay? Wished I could, can't. However, if you have a technological problem, chances are you could probably ask a 7-year-old and they can fix it. I would, after moving up here, I have 3 stepkids. I wasn't able to take my stepkids hunting the first year on the mentored hunt. I did not know how the whole antlerless license thing worked in Pennsylvania when I first moved here, and I hadn't written a check since the year that started with 19. So we missed that first year. That is another thing that I would like to look at for kids. You may have a last minute, like, hey, my kid would love to go hunting, but we don't hunt. Can you take them? All my kids are grown or hunt on their own now, so I could take somebody else's kid as long as they have an antlerless license. I could take them archery hunting, but still, on the mentored hunt, you wouldn't be able to take them unless they have an antlerless license. In my 4C, Upper Dauphin County, our antlerless licenses are sold out second round. So by the time hunting season comes around, what you got's what you got, as far as antlerless license. So if there was a later alternative for a kid to be able to getting an antlerless license, I know you guys were talking about doing a statewide license. That would be pretty awesome for your first one. That's really all I got, guys. I would like to see that age limit required, because I raised my kids in a state where 5 and 6-year-old hunting's the norm. So I appreciate you guys' time.
Christian Rogstad.
I feel like you guys are hitting the right subject all at once right here. So, I'd like to thank the Pennsylvania Game Commission for allowing me to speak today. My name is Christian Ragasta. Although I am a sportsman that lives here in Pennsylvania, I speak to you on behalf of the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation as their assistant manager of Northeastern states. The Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation, or CSF, gives a voice to hunters, anglers, recreational shooters, and trappers on Capitol Hill and throughout state capitals, advocating on behalf on vital outdoor issues that are the backbone of our nation's conservation efforts. Our 3 initiatives, which are recruit, retain, and reactivate, are part of that backbone. Mentors being a significant drive in our 3 efforts. That is why it is our hope for the Commission to take up the discussion on removing the provision that mentors must relinquish their own tag for a mentee to harvest a deer or turkey during a mentored hunt under the age of 7. Pennsylvania should join the 29 other states without a minimum age for big game harvesting. New Mexico Game and Fish published that for every 100 adults, only 69 youth hunters are moving up to replace them. Starting youth and mentor hunts has been one of the strongest tools for hunter recruitment and one of the safest, as mentor hunting was over 7 times safer than general hunting as seen in this New Mexico Game and Fishing publication. Whether a youth comes from a single-parent household or has a commonly occurring as is commonly occurring today of having heads of households holding multiple jobs, it is up to our hunting community to offer the assistance of mentorship in hunting, fishing, and trapping to recruit that youth into our sport. A good mentor should not be penalized for losing a big game tag when teaching those under the age of 7 years in the process of hunting. With the inclusion of allowing shotgun gauges such as the 410, which Pennsylvania does allow, youth under the age of 7 are capable in harvesting big game like turkey in safe and ethical manners. I'd also like to commend the Game Commission on keeping youth-mentored hunting permit costs at the mere minimum allowable so that they may be considered verified licenses to be counted towards federal matching funding through the American System of Conservation Funding. As per the Commonwealth's website, mentored youth permits cost $2.97, so thank you. I ask that at your next earliest convenience, the Pennsylvania Game Commission allows for the harvest of big game through the youth mentor hunting permit as is currently allowed for youth and junior hunters between the ages of 7 and 16. Parents and mentors are the best gauge of when their children are mature enough and what they are ready to be involved in. Hunting is a prime example of learning a life skill under the tutelage of a mentor. Please make the consideration as not to punitively punish a mentor for wanting to help children engage in our sport as early as their guardians deem appropriate. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for everything you do on behalf of the Conservation and Wildlife of Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Jeffrey Shope.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to let you know I've been hunting 50 plus years. Okay, so I was
Excuse me,
hunting back.
Jeffrey, excuse me.
Sure.
You might want to put the microphone a little closer.
I've been hunting for plus 50 years. So I was hunting when only 1 deer was allowed. Okay, I understand all the changes of why you got to kill more deer. Okay, I have 2 thoughts. Easier isn't better. And we're making it a lot easier for them to take game. Like crossbows, everybody can use a crossbow. It used to be only handicapped could use crossbows. I can see senior citizens use crossbows. But we allowed crossbows. That's one thing. Just making things easier doesn't make hunting better. And then the other thing, the most important thing to me is I sit out in a tree hunting. And I'm thinking about I need to come to this meeting because I'm not seeing any deer. I hunt basically public ground. I do have some private ground I hunt. But public ground, I'm seeing hardly any deer. And you could say maybe I'm not a good hunter. I travel about a mile, 2 mile in, okay? Not seeing rubs, not seeing scrapes, not seeing deer droppings, tells me there's nothing there. If I see a deer or 2 a day, I had a good day. I have a lot of days I don't see nothing. And there's plenty of deer. And that's why I think it's way past time that we should start managing public and private separate. Doe tags for private ground, public ground, you got a buck tag, you could use a doe tag for a buck tag. If just the doe tags ought to be used for private ground because there isn't a lot of deer on public ground. I have brothers that have quit hunting because they say, why go out hunting? We don't see nothing. And this is basically all public ground. And then the other thought about easier better, we allow doe season the first day of buck. Well, when I used to hunt, you could hear all kinds of shots. Now you're lucky if you hear 20 shots. It's a shame, it really is, what you all have allowed. The hunter's done it, but you've all allowed it. Let me see. Oh, then the other thing, this carrying 2 weapons in the early bear season. That's making things easier. People need to make choices, okay? Life's about choices. and we're teaching youth that they don't have any choices to make because we're making them for them. You should, carrying 2 weapons, that means you can go out there and sit for bear. Well, if a deer walks up, now you pull your bow up and you shoot it. That's a shame that's allowed. Then I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I eat, I head out to the woods, takes me an hour to get to the woods on a vehicle, then I walk an hour. Okay, then I'm sitting on this public ground, and all of a sudden, about 8, 9 o'clock, I have 25 people on a deer drive walking by me. I might as well go home for the rest of the day. That's aggravating with the big groups. I can see small groups, but you have a big group cleaning the whole mountain out, that's less chance of seeing any game the rest of the day. And this is on public ground. That's why I say we should be managing private and public separate. Let me see. Then on the report cards, not once do we have on them report cards that we shot it on public or private. You asked a lot of questions on the report cards when you kill a game, but it never says public or private. Okay? Then on that, one other thing is the Sunday hunting. Okay? We talked about God in there. Do we believe that there is a God? If we do believe there is a God, then we need to go to the Bible. In Exodus, God wrote 10 commandments. You all probably know what the 10 commandments are. One of them is, thou shalt keep the Sabbath day holy. Okay? How are we killing? How is killing on Sunday keeping the Sabbath day holy? Is that a good question or not? So that's, and then there's one other thing. On public ground, being that I've gotten older, I'm handicapped now that I'm older because I can't go like I used to be. You might want to consider that the senior citizen have lifetime license, be able to use a four-wheeler on public ground, travel on the roads, because when you hit my age, I can't go, and then I got to bring a deer out.
Yep.
Okay.
Respectfully, Jeff, thank you
Yep.
very much. Yep.
Randy Ferguson.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Randy Ferguson with Hunters Sharing the Harvest. I just wanted to stop today and basically thank the Game Commission for its support of our program and to thank Pennsylvania Hunters for all they do for our program as well. Pennsylvania Hunters should really be proud of what we do here in PA with this program where we donate venison to help those who are hungry in our communities. I also sort of take this opportunity each year to kind of give a little update to the commissioners as far as how our program did last year. That would be the 2023-24 hunting season. So it seems like every year I get to come up here and announce that we've broken yet another record and we've led the nation in venison donations, and that happened again last year during the 23-24 hunting season. We had 262,000 pounds of venison donated by hunters around the state. That's well over 1 million servings out in the food banks around the state of Pennsylvania that's helping people that are hungry, that you don't know, that are in your community, that are struggling. And we just want to show our appreciation for that, because as I talk to my counterparts around the country, and there's about 38 states that have some form of a wild game donation program, they look to Pennsylvania as the model. Just the same as they do for conservation practices and hunting success and white-tailed deer and so forth. It's a tremendous thing that we're doing, and I think at the end of the day, it's something we should all consider. First of all, we tell people all the time, make sure you feed your family first. That's the idea. That's why we hunt. But we also have opportunities to take advantage of additional tags, get out in the woods, spend more days hunting, doing what we love, supporting the conservation efforts of the state, and our Game Commission, who has the experts to determine why we allocate extra tags, antlerless tags and so forth. There's a reason they're out there. We like the fact that people can feed their families and then take that opportunity if they want to harvest more deer and fill those extra tags to be able to help people in their community. And when you think about all of the different topics we talk about these days that kind of put hunters under attack and why we need to have more hunting engagement, R3, we look at trying to engage young people, minorities, women, bring them into the sport and the hunting community. I don't think there's a better reflection of the hunting community than one that not only exercises its sport, supports its conservation goals, but actually performs a social service on behalf of the community. It's a tremendous thing, and not just here in Pennsylvania, but those 38 states around the country that have these programs. We're talking millions and millions of pounds of venison that are being donated, not just venison, all around the country. And if you think about the impact that's having and the face that puts on the hunting public compared to one that a lot of times is negative, or it's one that's uninformed, what we're doing and what Pennsylvania hunters are doing and hunters around the country are doing is tremendous. And I just like to take that opportunity to thank the Game Commission for its support and Pennsylvania hunters for all you do for this program and for people that you don't know. Thank you.
Kenny Kane.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kenny Kane. I am president of Generations Forestry, a consulting forestry firm in Northwest Pennsylvania. I'm also here representing the Society of American Foresters Deer Forest Committee. So our organization is a group of sportsmen, sportswomen, foresters, wildlife biologists, scientists, and researchers. Our goal is to manage a healthy forest with a healthy deer herd. A lot of our management decisions and recommendations come off of scientific observations, research, and data. We derive many important diverse benefits from our forests and the deer. Managing them both sustainably ensures that we have both for the future generations to come. So I'd really like to thank the commissioners for the following. Following the biologist's recommendations for antlerless deer allocations, continue to follow the recommendations from the biologist concerning CWD response plan, including the lowering the deer density and the slowing of the spread of CWD. The modernization of antlerless permit purchasing, I'll say pro and con. Luckily, I'm there to help my father in doing so. Makes it easy for the youth. There is a challenge. I can respect both, but it is easier for a lot of folks to purchase permits. For helping landowners and forest managers with the DMAP tags in critical forest management areas, that is a major tool for us in managing both public and private lands, and the importance of DMAP, can't say enough about it. Thank you for continuing the Saturday and Sunday weekend opener for deer rifle season, including Sunday hunting opportunities and archery season. Yes, it's very controversial. I can say for myself, it's doubled my amount of hunting I can do in rifle season. Also, the concurrent 2-week rifle season for buck and doe. The last time I stood at this podium was 23 years ago as a youth, and that was the first year of the concurrent buck-doe season. I can say if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be up here today. Probably wouldn't have chose a career in forestry unless my father forced me into it. But it was that where I could see the importance of how I could take a passion of mine of deer hunting and throw it into my profession, which is now more of a passion, and how important the two go together. We would also like to voice our support for the following: of opening the week of between Christmas and New Year's on DMAP and CWD zones for rifle hunting to increase the opportunity for youth. As I feel like it was yesterday, but now it was 20 years ago when I was in high school, and it would increase the hunting opportunities that the youth would have during that busy time. Also, automatically issuing junior and mentored hunters a antlerless permit when they purchase their general hunting license. This should encourage the sustainable deer and forest management shift away from an antler-only harvest and provide more opportunity for the youth for hunting. So, and with that, I would just like to thank the commissioners for all the opportunities that you're allowing forest managers to have to manage a healthy and sustainable ecosystem. Thank you.
James Pennick.
Good morning, Commissioners. My first time here. We have talked a lot about youth hunting. Let's go the opposite direction. Senior citizen hunting. I myself is losing my eyesight. I cannot tell if the buck has a brow point or not, if it doesn't stop and look directly at me. Why can't the senior hunter with a senior hunting license shoot a 4-point? I've talked to several senior hunters. They have quit deer hunting because of the 3-point rule. They cannot see the brow point. I mean, you're talking a deer 100 yards away from you, shooting through the brush, shooting through the trees. I donated 2 deer to the gentleman over here in the past 10 years because I cannot see the length of the brow point. I can see a brow point, but can I measure that 100 yards away? No. I donated a 3/8 of an inch short brow point the other year. In the senior hunting, I shot a doe, I thought, but it had basically a 2.5 inch antler on it with Ys. It was a buck. I donated that one. Since we went to the 3-point rule, I got 1 legal buck. And then they turn around and say, they fined me, which is what they were supposed to do. But what hurt most of all is they actually took the deer from me and gave me a red tag and said, go shoot another one. Well, that was the last deer I saw that hunting season. So I'm trying to figure out how we can get a senior hunter to be able to shoot more buck and enjoy the season longer in life than what we are today. Not trying to down this mentor system or anything of that nature. It's a good program, but you know, we got to do something for the senior hunter, and being able to shoot a 4-point instead of looking for the brow point would be a big step in the right direction. Thank you.
Next is Tim Hamilton.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Last year I spoke probably somewhat aggressively toward this group here because of my constant communication and lack of communication in return. I think at that point in time, Brian Burhans, of course, was still here. And at the close of last year's meeting, Brian Burhans stood up and lied to everyone in this room that were still seated here when he told everybody here that though my complaint was that I had sent multiple letters to him and to this group of people right here, that not one had ever returned a response to my handwritten letters or my emails. He claimed that he responds to every email. He does not. That was a lie. He never responded to me until after last year's meeting, right before his shameful resignation for having outside business interest involved in his life and what he was doing while serving as our director. I attended a gathering at the Cinnamahoney Sportsman's Club back in October where I asked our new director, Stephen Smith, about the change to the Monday opener. One of his responses was that it needed to be tried so that we know whether or not it was working or would work. I guess I should try cocaine to see if it works, or I should try drunk driving to see if that works. Though I have heard many reasons for the change, that was the first that I heard that we should just try it to see if it worked. One of the reasons we've been given for moving the opener to Saturday was because it was difficult for hunters to get off work, students to get out of school. Though with my deep appreciation, in 2006, the commission introduced a youth mentor season, which I and my 5 grandsons and their dads take advantage of every season. It's odd, though, that starts on a Thursday, school day, work day, Friday, school day, work day, Saturday, first day and the only day of that weekend. It's weird how that happened. Yet we moved the Monday opener to a Saturday because people couldn't get off work, kids couldn't get out of school. I know, it's just weird to me how that happens. You, this group before us, and when I sat down here in the corner with my sticker on, it says Saturday opener sucks. Mike, on the end of your table here, laughed at me. I hope that isn't the position of each of you commissioners, because I have a voice too. I've been a hunter in the Pennsylvania woods since 1971. I have every hunting license that I've ever purchased in my life framed and in my cabin because it means so much to me. We talked today about mentor hunters. You are kicking the mentor hunters to the curb, and we wonder why youth don't want to be involved. The fathers or grandfathers, great-grandfathers, uncles, friends, neighbors that are the mentors, you are disregarding them. When you change the seasons, as you did to start, all of those of us that have spent decades hunting, preparing over the weekend after Thanksgiving to hunt on Monday, the build-up to that, the excitement for that, you have told all of them that their opinion no longer matters. You've kicked the mentors to the curb, and then you wonder why the youth numbers don't increase. We're losing the mentors by hundreds and thousands every year, yet you ignore the majority of your hunters year after year, now going on 5 or 6 years, regarding the Monday versus Saturday opener. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm a business person. I deal with people every day. And working with them, Kenny Kane, a dear friend of mine, though we disagree on this, he's still my friend. He's still a business associate. But you guys, each of you, continue to ignore the majority of the people speaking their voice. In doing so, you have lost our trust. We don't trust you because you haven't earned our trust. And you continue year after year after year, in spite of the vocalization of people who want and need this to change. Please don't continue to ignore it 9-0.
Ray Taylor.
Hello, my name is Ray Taylor. I've been a PA hunter for 62 years. I'm an HTE instructor, and I've had the distinct honor of mentoring youth for over 30 years. I also administer a Facebook group called PA Youth Field and Stream, a group that I designed solely for youngsters and their families that present their hunting stories and their pictures. I've had the opportunity to speak at many sports banquets, youth events, and rallies, including my HTE classes, and I am commonly asked questions. The question I'm asked the most today is about the Saturday opener. Following right behind that question is, what is the reasoning that mentored youth or mentors be penalized by giving up their tag for a mentee that gets a deer? So many adults that have always hunted archery can no longer do so because they must hold their tag to give to the youngster. I'll be honest. To say I can only share
shake my head because it's unexplainable. I truly believe that for whatever reason, the sitting Board of Commissioners in 2015 swallowed a bunch of lies and sadly accepted them as fact. They amended a bill that surpassed 10 years without a hitch. I'd also like to say that I cannot understand what would prompt this group of board members to even entertain the idea of supporting their amendment. In review of past meetings and podcasts, I have not heard one commissioner come up with any factual basis to why this amendment should not be reversed. Not one has shown safety concerns nor violations of the law that would lead to such an unprecedented decision. I truly feel in order to make any ruling, there must be facts to support it. I want you to know, had a bill been signed in 2005 that took the age of youth hunting back from age 12 to age 7, I probably would have wholeheartedly accepted it. You must also consider at that time we were in uncharted waters. I'm here today to stand up for the HB 1690 bill Governor Rendell signed for good reason. The bill had a 10-year run with virtually no safety concerns or noted violations. The board has basically accepted unfounded truths and exaggeration without fact or merit. You appear to have fallen into the same realm that bases rulings on assumptions and perceptions. We're in an age where it is truly vital to get the attention of our youth as early as possible. We must do all we can to instill in them the love of the outdoors, hunting and conservation. Kids quickly become consumed by the first thing that comes their way. My hope is that they'll become hunters to learn and appreciate all the state has to offer. I have heard and read comments that were said or written by some commissioners. One in 2015 stated the bill was amended because basically sometimes life is just unfair. Another more recently stated the amendment was not reversed because of a perception of wrongdoing. Does this even come close to a true reasoning for why this board would conclude why a legal ruling should or shouldn't be approved? I'm sure everyone here today would want rulings to be based on more than perception. Many people have the perception that this board is paid quite well for sitting in their positions. We all know better, but should we believe this perception and go with the facts? It's really a shame that I or anyone else here on this matter has to spend hours driving and in a lot of cases lose work. All because this board has failed to rule on such a matter as this that has had an exemplary 10-year trial. The group of hunters under 7 years old is small, but failing to capture their attention may come back to haunt the PGC for decades to come. I'm asking this board to put this bill back as it was in 2015, using facts, truth, and solid data as reasoning. We cannot go on punishing mentors for doing exactly what the PGC asks of them. Taking away mentors' tags deprive them of their own hunting opportunities. Let's not allow this to continue. When I speak to my next group of youngsters and their parents, I would love to say reason prevailed, and the travesty enacted in 2015 is no longer going to control the judgment. I want to thank you every one of you for your service on the board.
Right.
I understand it's a thankless position.
Great, thank you. Respectfully, 5 minutes are up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Harold Dobb.
Board, Executive Director Smith, on behalf of the 90,000 Hunter Nation members, our Pennsylvania Director John Bingaman, our Pennsylvania Director of Legislative Affairs Dan Sneath, and our national leadership, I was asked to deliver the following comments to the Pennsylvania Game Commission in regards to the Mentored Youth Program. As Ray just mentioned, this was a program that was established under Pennsylvania Families Afield legislation in 2005, and the vote at that time was 245 supportive legislators out of 246 total, senators and representatives. It saw broad support from hunters, organizations, and legislators, leading to increased participation in hunting and overall youth involvement. Hunter Nation urges the Pennsylvania Game Commission to reconsider the changes that were initiated in 2015 and to act to enhance rather than restrict hunting opportunities for mentored youth, restoring and preserving the integrity and success of that program. A thorough review of the facts related to the changes that were made found the following. The changes were driven by a small minority of opponents and unsupported by data or widespread public opinion. In fact, public comments, out of 233 comments, 183 did not want that change to happen back in 2015. The allegations of abuse were unsubstantiated, and enforcement should focus on violators rather than penalizing all youth hunters. Reducing opportunities contradicts the original intent of the legislation and risks harming hunter recruitment. We'd like to submit the following proposal for immediate consideration by the board today. Restore youth tags and enhance opportunities by including both an antlered and antlerless tag in the program. Remove the limit of one transferred antlerless tag per year for youth. We'd like to tailor restrictions to specific management units if needed, rather than broadly limiting youth participation. I'd also like to read a couple of quotes. And this is all included in your package that you just received. This first quote says, "The critical thing addressed here today is that there are a good number of people who do not have a family connection to hunting or the outdoors. It takes a caring older person to introduce a young person to the outdoor life. That is the beauty of the mentoring concept. It can be hard to see the beauty and the joy of the outdoor experience all on your own, at least initially." And those words were said by Dan Hill, a Pennsylvania Game Commissioner, on January 27th, 2006, at the signing of that bill. And then in 2015, Game Commission Board President Dave Putnam said, "We're not closing the door on the program because a parent has the choice to transfer their antlered tag." Do you see the difference? You had one that passed this legislation talking about the importance of somebody who doesn't have a family connection to hunting being allowed to be introduced. And then in 2015, we took our mentors' tags and said no. We'd all like to give up our tag for our kids, our grandkids, maybe even our neighbors' kids. But a guy like Ray, who runs a program and wants to mentor people that maybe are never introduced to hunting without a program like his, you guys and ladies have the opportunity today to change this, and I hope you do. Thank you.
Rich Kramer.
Morning, Commissioners. I want to thank you for your time. It's good to see everybody. It's really nice, at least for me, to see such passion from fellow hunters across Pennsylvania, talking about various subjects, most or maybe half of which are very controversial. What I want to talk about today, very briefly, I don't think is controversial at all, and that is the reinstating the use of rifles in fall turkey season. There's not a group that's speaking in opposition to that. There's not a group speaking for it either. There's just me. I'm not here representing any group. I'm just representing me. Something I feel very strongly about. If you all received a letter recently from me detailing how that initial decision was made a few years back. And it was not made based on science. So I guess what I'm here to ask is that you reinstate the use of rifles. There's no science saying that we can't do it. There's no science saying we should not do it. There's not a group of hunters that will be adversely affected if we do it. There is a group of hunters that will be positively affected, those of us that like to enjoy the use of rifles in fall turkey season. So please find it in your hearts to make that change today. I would very much appreciate it. In closing, I'd like to paraphrase Russian philosopher Solzhenitsyn when he said, "The simplest and most accessible form of liberation is the personal non-participation in deception." Speaking to you here today about this subject has been liberating for me, and you voting on it later today to reinstate it will be as equally liberating for you. Thank you for your time.
Dan Davila.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see we have a nice turnout again. I'm going to keep it brief. I don't think I'll use the 5 minutes. Tim Grenison sent me an email that I want to read. Some of you commissioners know him, about a parallel, a comparison. And I'll go ahead and read his first. PGC has, throughout history, implemented programs to benefit wildlife, hunting, and the resource. For example, the PGC Howard Seedling Nursery each year provided at little or no cost to hunters and conservationists diligently planting those seedlings in an effort to improve habitat. Why I think that's important is one of the things that I noticed is, which actually covers two areas. There was commissioners a year or two ago that said, well, we're not responsible for economics. That's not our goal. Well, when you're purchasing land in the manner of which we're doing it, you are affecting the economy in the northern tier by taking that land off the tax roll. So that's number one. That's a big observation, and that looks like that's going to continue. So subsequently, many of the plants that were determined to be invasive and even noxious weeds, today many landowners wrestle with eradication in those plants which were planted in good faith. It seems that promoting plants like Athorum honeysuckle, mottle flower rose, Japanese berry, bayberry, autumn olive, and Bradford pear may have been a mistake, albeit the intentions were positive. The outcome turned out to be, and we've seen that throughout the state with those types of shrubs that are hard to get rid of. And then another thing that when I read this that he wrote to me, I thought, how many people did you guys give, like, how are we going to kill this stuff? Well, we all know about the history of Roundup. How many people use Roundup to do it and ended up getting cancer? We don't know that, and I'm not putting that on you folks. But the point is cause and effect. That's why I'm here today, and you all know why I'm here. We want to see the Monday return back, not just for the seniors, but for all of Pennsylvania and the economics that the Monday provided. To see invasive weeds as parallel and changes like the rifled season to Saturday, the PGC intention to improve opportunity and convenience to the hunting community. Hunters generally supported the effort as to the 3 Rs, but quickly realized the negative impacts that were happening to the economics in the rural communities, the family traditions, camp life, and celebratory weekend that provided having it on Monday. I know for me, and you folks know that I own land in Pennsylvania, but I live in Ohio. It just doesn't work for us to try to pull that together when I have a house full of people for Thanksgiving. It's awful. It's a rush. Commissioner Fredericks made a comment. The problem here is Thanksgiving. My point is all the different changes that you guys had made over the last couple of years to determine, and some of the stuff that Travis Lau put out in the media and also Brian Burhans was touting, and thank goodness Executive Director Smith has not taken that position. He can't say, and he's told us this, I can't say that the lesser sales losses are due to the Saturday opener. Well, to go along with that statement, people in our group are actively right now working on getting the data from the other surrounding states around Pennsylvania so that you guys can have that to look at. We hope to have that before the February 3rd meeting. So I don't know where you guys are at in terms of what data that you're doing to prove to us or prove to the general public that the Saturday was a good thing. We all know why the Saturday thing started. And we all know that we watched that meeting on the, oh, that's it, I'm done. Anyway, very good. I think I got my point across, and we'll see you.
Randy Santucci.
Switch my specs here. Commissioners, Director Smith, thank you here for the opportunity. As the gentleman previously said, some of his topics were decisions should be made with fact and not perception. And this agency prides itself on following the science. In 2019, the facts and science were ignored for the benefit of the new commissioners. Hunter voices were ignored. Hunter surveys identified 65% wanted to stay with the Monday opener. The required public comment period was 82% opposed to the change. Your staff survey science did not support the change, nor did the opinion of your Hunter outreach coordinator. All of that would have been the determining science. The legislature weighed in by summoning this board back to Harrisburg to reconsider your vote, I'm sorry. Continuing to support the Saturday divorces this agency from science-based decision-making. A hearing ensued in 2020 where myself and 3 others testified. Chairman Courts surveyed the crowd of about 70 people, and as always, the majority, 80%, wanted the Monday reinstated. Commissioner Fredericks, as noted before, made the statement, the problem here is Thanksgiving. Later, Chairman Courts stated to Commissioner Fredericks, the Hunters didn't want this change, and you did it anyway. Commissioner Pride reached out to me almost 2 years ago, and in a 2-hour conversation as you were looking for a regional solution to this problem. Why search for a solution if a problem didn't exist? That's appreciated your effort there to look at something. Commissioner Pride. Commissioner Forador stated Hunters just want to get to Camp Saturday to party. How about we replace the word party with fellowship, camaraderie, and tradition? Commissioner Mitrick, you voted originally against the change, then reversed your position. But you made this statement in the Outdoor News article in 2021. I support a Saturday opener, but I just don't like the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Almost everyone that sends in a comment says it's too rushed, and it is, Mitrick said. I really think it's the wrong Saturday. I'd like to see it open on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. That was discussed with no plausible solution, not working with bear season. There's no good Saturday to open the rifle deer season. Hunting will struggle to compete with many societal interests like college football and others. It is a lose-lose scenario. Currently, opening the season within the most traveled national family holiday weekend is indeed a problem, as stated by Commissioner Fredericks in 2020. But the list is long of the negatives that came with this change. We had our special Monday holiday prefaced with 3 days to unpack Thanksgiving, to travel, patronize businesses, and do final preparations. And you canceled our special time. Hunting cannot compete with these major societal issues on Saturday. Economic damages continue to be revealed. The latest 2 months ago in an article from a Gantt News organization based in State College. The division and fracturing of Pennsylvania hunters you admitted to last April is far greater than you realize. You have no clue of the damage you've done. This agency made a terrible social decision outside your area of expertise based on presumptive determinations. License sales continue their decline, and frankly, I'm still trying to understand why this change ever came about, and more importantly, any benefits it brought to hunting or the community. A second informational meeting is being held next week. I and others will testify again. Basically the same components as in 2020, but now with 5 years of validation. Legislation has been reintroduced again in the 2025 session and with bipartisan co-sponsorship building. Our work now begins in the Senate. You know the politics as I, and soon the public will as well. Dr. Jagno advised the board, historical survey data shows a significant relationship between planned and actual behavior. She identified positive survey responses can be considerably less in actual participation. We confirmed that with Executive Director Smith at a meeting we had several months back, Steve. In one previous survey, only 39% of those stating they were going to buy a license actually did. Your 2020 200 survey of 60% of hunters moderately or strongly support the Saturday is meaningless, knowing the survey data assessment of the historical situation there. Yes, some like the Saturday, but the best interest of hunting, family, tradition, community, and small-town economics reinstate the Monday opener, follow it with implementing Sundays in the subsequent weekends as they become available. This way, everyone wins. Thank you.
Adam Eckley.
Morning. My name is Adam Eckley. I'm a resident of Columbia County, and I'm a lifelong sportsman. I'm also the father of 2 young boys who are here in the audience with me today. First, I'd like to thank the Board of Game Commissioners for making a much-needed change this year to allow more than 1 mentored youth per mentor. This change allowed me to spend many hours afield with both my boys this season, doubling the time that each of them was able to spend outside learning about nature and honing their hunting skills that I hope will stick with them for a lifetime. Next, as others have discussed this morning, I'd like to talk about the proposed changes that would allow mentored youth under the age of 7 to hold their own tags, as opposed to the current system where big game animals must be tagged by the mentor for youths under 7. This change is important as it allows mentors more flexibility in the youths that they take afield and for which seasons. Some adults may not take issue with sacrificing one of their own tags, such as the coveted buck tag for a mentee. But some may struggle with the decision, such as in situations where the mentored youth is not a direct family member or where they would like to take more than one youth, as is now permitted. How should a parent decide which of their mentored youths gets the opportunity to tag a buck or a spring gobbler this year? Plus, not all mentored youths have the benefit of the generosity of a friend or family member who's willing to give up their own time and their tags for a youngster under the age of 7. When I was a youth, I wasn't able to hunt until the age of 12, but in today's world, hunter recruitment would be impossible at that age, especially with the multitude of activities that young people are involved in, such as sports programs and the electronic devices that always seem more enticing than a blustery day in the deer stand. Nowadays, with the advent of our mentored youth programs, some hunters under the age that I started hunting have harvested more game than members of my generation did by the time